been working for the last 12 to 14 years now. I graduated from IIT Bombay in 2005, after which I started working for a law firm, Nishad Desai Associates. It's a pretty good big law firm in India. And I was working with their IP arm. So I was essentially drafting patents for IBM, Motorola, and what have you, right? So that's how that was my first exposure to inventions and innovators. And every single day we were speaking to these innovators and trying to understand what makes their innovation patentable or different or noble, right? Novel from like everything else. So that's when I realized that ideas are ideas, just ideas until you actually implement it. So I worked there for a couple of years, after which my then boss took me with him to his next sort of career thing that he was doing. So I moved with him to DirectEye, which is an internet solutions company. So I joined there as a business development associate, and then I went on to becoming a strategic partner manager. I was there for 5 years, during which time I had partnerships set up in the US. So these are client partnerships as well as on the buying and selling side, so both. That was also my first exposure to kind of businesses outside of India. So that was great, and I was actually doing pretty well in that job. I had my child. That was in 2012. That was my first child, and during my maternity break was when my husband got posted in Singapore. So I had to make that hard call of sort of quitting my job at that point in time and following him to Singapore as a trailing wife. So I quit my job, and that was a conscious decision for me as well, to spend the first couple of years with my child. So I took a career break, after which for me it was quite difficult to get that first job in Singapore. But then I kind of got back into the job market, and I started working for this really small boutique digital marketing firm. And that's where I sort of got into marketing. And after that, I moved as a marketing head. I moved to this edtech startup. And I was there for a couple of years. I did a lot of pivots with them as well. We went through a lot of business units. So that was amazing learning experience for me. So after a couple of years, I quit that, and then I started GoPlay Cosmetics. So that was my first sort of single solo venture. Yeah, so I think it's there is industry specific things, and then there are just generally where the world is heading, and you can translate that per industry, but generally where the world is heading is sort of doing things yourself, right? And that's what we see with SaaS products as well. Everything is self-serve now. I mean, you of course have enterprise, but you also have self-serve options, right? So you have the freemium options and stuff. So people want to have that control, or at least when you're starting off, you want to kind of have that control. So we see the same thing now happening in cosmetics as well. So it started with skincare. A lot of things move from a salon to home. So you see, people don't go for waxing anymore. They just have wax strips, for instance. A lot of things that you used to go to salons for, now you're doing it at home, like facials, etc. You have these kits that you can just bring home. And obviously, the whole pandemic has sort of accelerated this at home and self-serve sort of industry. So you see the same trend pretty much in all industries right now. And for somebody who's just starting up a business, I felt like that was a trend that I wanted to capitalize on as well, because you have very, very limited resources when you're starting up. So you definitely want to ride the wave. You don't want to kind of go into distribution and just launch something that everybody else is doing, right? And for me specifically, the pandemic has turned out to be really good, because now when you go in store and you sort of buy colors, a lot of times it's guesswork because there is no testers, etc. So with the GoPlay Cosmetics, now people just tweak it themselves, and you don't really need to buy anything from store. You can just have everything at home. And the cleanliness aspect of it, and the fact that you can create it in small jars, wipe it up, so you can actually share it also within your friend circle without contamination. So all of these are working in our favor. So that I think is a luck factor, but it was a conscious factor for me to kind of get into the whole DIY, because I could see that as a trend generally in all industries. So for me, I think as far as hard skills are concerned, personally, I think marketing as a skill is a must-have of sorts if you really want to kind of do things lean, and you don't have too many resources. It just makes a lot of sense to learn digital marketing, and it doesn't take too long to do that, right? Your basic Facebook advertising, social media, etc. So if I were to pick one skill that any founder should probably have initially, I think it would be just honing your marketing skills a little bit. As far as soft skills is concerned, I really think that having that open mind about gathering perspective from people is very, very important. So I keep saying this over and over again, and I feel like it's very important that, and I've seen people who are very resistant as well. I used to be, for one, sure, right? But I've changed myself over time, because I realized that you need to talk to people and understand their perspective, and not just to understand, just to talk to them, just to kind of answer them back, but just actually to really take it in and understand where they're coming from. So once you have that open mind, you're not as married to your own idea as you otherwise would be. So an idea is just something that is serving a purpose there, right? So that mind shift made me fall in love with the problem rather than the idea. So that change in mind shift kind of made me feel like, oh, I want to solve this problem. I want to first validate if this is actually a problem. And then the idea is just a starting point, right? And then you pivot and then you do 100 other things to kind of solve that problem. But you're in love with the problem and not with the idea. So I think that change in mind shift only can happen if you're not so emotionally attached to something. That means you're okay to change your mind about things and taking in perspective. So, and I definitely think that that soft skill is much higher than any hard skill that you can have as far as founding your own company or doing something more meaningful in life is concerned. So there are a lot of people who feel like the founder journey and entrepreneurship is very glamorous. It's not. It's anything but. So if you're getting into, or you want to start something on your own because you think there's money in it, I would not even consider entrepreneurship. If you want money, then go into a corporate job, become a consultant or investment banker. As a starting point, I think it's very important to ask yourself those questions about why you want to be a founder in the first place. Right. For me, I wanted to be a founder first because I wanted to have that, I want the world to be more sustainable. And that's something that comes from deep within me as a purpose. So I want to make an impact somewhere where I can change certain behaviors about people. And that's very, very important to me. If you feel deeply about something and you think you have a skill set to pursue it, then the next part comes where you realize that this is not an easy journey, right? It's very, very lonely, like everybody says it. It's true. It's super lonely. Like when you're starting off, you have these amazing ideas and you want to talk to people with that passion, but people are like, so it becomes like a lot of times you get not negative, but you don't get the same excitement that you feel about it, right? Because you're not paying those people. They are not on your payroll, right? So be prepared to kind of want them to be. And the third is, I think, also because it's such a lonely journey, there's nobody to keep track of what you're doing. It's all you. It's your internal motivations. So for me, I was just going right, left, and center and telling everybody my idea. And I think that helped me a lot because when I was telling people about my idea, you shout it out, they keep you on track, right? They'll ask you the next time you meet them, hey, what's happening with that? So you feel answerable to them. You feel like, hey, since the last time I spoke to you, nothing much has happened. And how many times can you say that till you start questioning your own motives? So I think just shouting out loud your idea and not worrying about somebody else stealing it, because that doesn't happen. It wouldn't happen. So don't worry about people stealing your idea. Just go out to the world, shout out your idea, and let them keep you on track. I think these three things have worked very, very well for me, because even today, after 3-4 years now that I've been invested in this business, I feel just equally motivated to take it ahead. So even if you're not making as much money as you would want to, you still feel motivated enough to pursue that problem that you have, or the problem that you have fallen in love with.